I think it would have been back to back to back.
Yeah.
Yes, it would have been three in a row. But I mean, very good baseball conference, so I might be hitting up Bluebell Park
Yeah.
when springtime rolls around.
Tickets are definitely cheaper.
Yeah, but finishing out these predicted, uh, I guess predicted outcomes. Missouri 7-5, 3-5 in the SEC. Vanderbilt 6-6. I don't see that. But I do see this one. Kentucky 4-8, probably even worse than that. 1-7 in the SEC. Definitely still think the winner of the national championship is going to come out of the SEC. But interesting to see with the USC coming in at number one in the preseason rankings.
Yeah.
With the first year after their postseason ban. This is their first year after that has been lifted. But high expectations for USC, high expectations for Alabama, high expectations all across the country, and
Right.
it all starts tonight.
And I've been listening to Kirk Herbstreit, and
I can't stand him.
well, okay, well, I shouldn't have said Kirk Herbstreit, but I've been listening to college football live a couple of days, and everything points to the SEC being the teams, the conference that has the national champion. Everything points to that. You can't go against history.
I mean, they've won 6 in a row.
Yeah, but I also think that USC is definitely a good team. They're definitely not, I don't think they're overhyped. I just think they're right at the hype that they should have. And I think that a team to look out for this year is the Florida State. Florida State. I think they have a good offense. They're subpar defense, and I think they're really looking to get into the national championship hunt this year. That's just my X factor for the year.
X factor or dark horse for a national championship? Florida State.
Yeah,
Right.
or dark horse or whatever.
Yeah. I can see that. I mean, Florida State, they've always been a really good program. They've had a couple up and down years the past couple years.
Well,
but I mean,
ever since
Bobby Bowden.
ever since he left. But now they're starting to pick it back up, and they're starting to get back where they want to be.
And I mean, they were such an elite program all through the 90s and even the early 2000s. And I mean, they've been an elite program for quite some time, but
And they've been subpar every now and then.
And we've talked about this earlier too, and I'm just kind of going off the top of my head here, but we've talked about how conferences have changed over the past like 10, 15 years.
Right.
Because in the 90s, the ACC was the conference to beat with Miami and Florida, and the Big 12 was in there in the early 2000s.
Right.
With Texas getting a national championship in 2005 and Oklahoma in
And I mean, I guess they still are, kind of, because Oklahoma is predicted to be a pretty big. Oklahoma is predicted to have a pretty good season, and they're predicted to go to the BCS most definitely. But the other teams around the Big 12 aren't. They're not.
I mean, Texas.
They're not doing it anymore. Texas used to be. Just think about this. Texas, when they won the championship in 2005, they had Vince Young. They had a bunch of people that were elite athletes that were on that team, and now ever since, I mean, they were a pretty good team for a couple more years, and then they just fell off, and now they're David Ash or Colt McCoy or Case McCoy or whatever, and now it's like, okay, so what are we gonna do here? How are we gonna rebuild this team, and when are we gonna get back to where we need to be?
Yeah, it's. I don't know. I got invited to go do opening weekend at UT, but I'm not gonna go.
Ew,
No.
UT.
No.
Saw him off.
I don't want to go, but I don't even know who they're playing. Wyoming. Does that sound about right?
I really don't know. I'm not following UT anymore now that they're not in the Big 12 or now that they're not in the SEC.
Yeah. But and what I think happened with the Aggies transitioning to the SEC is I think that Longhorn Network with ESPN,
and it's not even that popular. Let's just have
yeah, but that was like a huge like money making deal. Like they have a contract with ESPN,
UT. Right?
And I mean, I think that was
it was a big deal. It was a big deal, and of course, look, Texas A&M is always going to want more exposure than Texas, and with this moving to the SEC, even though they're not in the same conference anymore, I'm pretty sure that the SEC is going to give A&M more coverage and more ESPN time and more primetime games than the Big 12 would ever gave.
Yeah, they're going to be getting games on CBS now.
Yeah, because the Big 12, their moneymakers are Oklahoma and Texas, and now maybe West Virginia and what's the other team?
Tech might be good. I really don't know. I didn't really look up on Tech as much. I know Seth Deggy is playing quarterback. I've touched on the Tuberville situation. I don't think he fits in Lubbock. That's just me. I've talked to Tremaine Swindle. He didn't like Tuberville, but I mean he definitely preferred to play for Leach, and Leach just brought so much success to the program. He put that program on the map. Kind of like what Art Briles is doing now at Baylor. And talking about Baylor, and I was talking with Justin, my roommate, about this morning. He was like, dude, because I think a Subway commercial was on, and like Robert Griffin, sponsored by Subway now.
He's all over the place now.
But playing for the Redskins, like something came up, and he was like, dude, how is Baylor so good last year? And Robert Griffin, not to downplay what anyone else did on the team, it was a team effort, but Robert Griffin was a huge contributing factor to that season last year. And I don't see them going 10-3 with Nick Florence under center. That kind of a talent. They had a great sports year last year, Baylor did. They won a national championship in women's basketball. They made it to the Elite Eight in men's basketball. Most football wins in program history. Won the Alamo Bowl, got a Heisman Trophy. So, I think Baylor's definitely going to be Art Briles is a great recruiter. He landed Robert Griffin. Robert Griffin was going to go to Houston, and then Art Briles got the job at Baylor. And then Robert was like, oh, okay, well, I'll go with you. You recruited me. But, I definitely think Art Briles is going to give Baylor about 2 more years, and they're going to be a top team in the Big 12. Or at least that's how I see it.
Yeah, Baylor had a great season last year. They had Kendall Wright. They had Robert Griffin.
Terrence Ganaway. They lose all 3 of those, though.
Yeah, so, they're gonna fall off a little bit, obviously, but we'll just that's why we're talking about it, because we got to see what's gonna go on what's gonna happen this season, and that's why we talk about it beforehand, so we can see what's gonna happen with these teams. And what you got to realize, guys, is that we are biased towards some teams. We are biased. Obviously, we're in College Station, so we are biased towards the Aggies a little bit, even though Nick doesn't really like the Aggies, but we're in College Station, and Nick likes Texas Tech and Baylor and those teams, and I like my Aggies a lot. I like the SEC a lot. So we're gonna obviously talk about these guys more, these teams more, and these conferences more. But we will talk about the other conferences, and we will try and put in the other conferences just as much, even though we're biased towards other ones.
Well, shorter episode today, but I'm ready to go watch some football, so
go watch some football tonight. There's plenty of it.
Plenty of it. Go to a sports bar if you don't have like ESPN in your apartment or anything like that. But I think that's going to do it for us, guys. 4th and Inches, Spreaker Web Radio. College football starts.
Go ahead.
We're going to be back. Basically what he just said. But, college football starts tonight. We're pumped, and we're out of here.